Converted man here. Look, a new webcam. It's so beautiful. I can see things. Gonna have to cover up that green light shining right into my eyeballs. Anyways, 3 reasons why atheists run from an absolute beginning of everything, posted by Mission Millennia Z Alphas. Well, Millennia Z Alphas, I'm not running from anything at all. The problem I see is no citations at all. So why should I think that the universe had an absolute beginning? See, you're talking about a scientific matter, so you're going to have to reference some peer-reviewed papers. You don't do that. Not in your description and not in your video. So what are you basing this idea on? You show us in the video, so let's check that out, shall we? Yeah, as soon as I get on the thing. There we go. Here we are. So you're an AI overview. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Sure, I can do that too. I'll use ChatGPT if we're going to do that. So, I mean, if that's just how we're going to decide what's true, sure, yeah, let's do that. Let's see, where is it? Where are we? Okay, universe beginning. That's where it was, right? Okay, so I asked it, did the universe have an absolute beginning? Can't spell anything right. It doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to care. And let's just, just ignore all that over here. It says the question of whether the universe had an absolute beginning is still debated in cosmology and philosophy. Okay, so it's debated. There you go. We're done. You're wrong, right? And then it talks about Big Bang theory, singularity hypothesis, quantum cosmology, cyclic models, eternal inflation and multi-universe hypothesis, agnostic position, and it says, well, in short, the observable universe appears to have a starting point, the Big Bang. Whether or not it was absolute, or whether something preceded it is an open question. I said, well, wait a minute. The Google AI said the majority of scientists think the universe did have an absolute beginning. Is it wrong? And it says, yeah, that statement's misleading. Well, many scientists consider the possibility the universe had an absolute beginning, just as in the classical big model, is not a settled issue in cosmology. Many alternative models suggest otherwise. There's no scientific consensus on whether the universe truly had an absolute beginning or something existed before the Big Bang. Some key points: classical Big Bang model suggests an initial singularity, but quantum mechanics likely changes this picture. Majority of physicists acknowledge the general relativity breaks down as a Planck scale, meaning we don't have a current complete theory of what happened at T0. I would go further than that, but we'll get there. The Born-Goth-Venken theorem suggests that expanded universe must have had a past boundary, but it does not necessarily mean an absolute beginning. Just the classical spacetime could have existed indefinitely in quantum gravity models, such as all those proposed ways the universe could have existed before the Big Bang. So the claim that the majority of scientists think the universe had an absolute beginning is an oversimplification, and the real answer is we just don't know for sure. And I said, but how many scientists agree? Who are they anyways? An appeal to most doesn't tell me anything. It says, I'm right to be skeptical of vague appeals to most scientists. The actual scientific consensus is more nuanced, and surveys on this specific question are rare. However, we can look at what leading cosmologists and physics have argued, and then it tells you a bunch of people, philosopher, not physicist. I don't care what William Lane Craig has to say. I don't even know why I put him in here, to be honest. Stephen Hawking, Alan Guth, and then people who argue against absolute beginning, and then it lists more people here. And then it's this lack of a formal poll, and goes over that and talks about that. And the conclusion is some favor have a beginning, but many propose alternatives. The real answer is it's still an open question in cosmology. Well, so there you go, buddy. If you're going to use AI, don't rely just on the Google AI, because it's going to simplify everything down. In fact, I would say don't rely on ChatGPT either, although it's better and getting more better at stuff. It's still not going to tell you the full picture. And so we're going to want to cite some citations, because that's a thing we should do when looking at the origin of the universe and things in cosmology. Here's a paper talking about it: dark matter and gravity waves from a dark Big Bang. Now, am I going to read this whole paper to you? Oh, no. But it's extraordinarily complex. It gives you an abstract, and it tells you a whole bunch of stuff after that. And yeah, you're going to have to read it and go through it yourself, which I'm sure that you could do, right? You can understand all this stuff, right? I don't have to explain this to you. Now, there was an article about this paper, and that article further simplifies the scientific paper and gives you an interesting headline. And the headline that it gives is that it argues the universe began with 2 Big Bangs. Well, I don't know that that's really what the paper does. I would have to read and analyze this paper myself, and that will take time and energy, and it's something that I cannot do live. I'd have to do it off. But my point here is to the original video person that uploaded his little video is, instead of saying that I, atheist, whatever, run away from it, is if you're going to talk about Big Bang cosmology, fine, but give your citation. Where's your citations? Where's your peer review that agrees with you? There's a few scientists that might actually agree with your position, and there are peer-reviewed papers that you can cite that agree with that position. But why are you not citing them? See, that makes me have to be skeptical, because you're not holding up your burden of proof. I don't care what atheists say or disagree with or whatever, even if you could prove that point. And by the way, it's just poisoning the water to say that atheists run away from an absolute beginning. I don't even know that there is an absolute beginning. You'd have to demonstrate that there is an absolute beginning. Now, if scientists whose job it is to do that can't figure it out and can't agree, then who are we non-scientists to say that we've figured it out? I mean, where is your paper? Where is your mathematical model of the universe showing that it had an absolute beginning? And if you don't have that, then why should I listen to anything you have to say when the best you can offer is an AI overview that Google offers, which isn't even as good as what ChatGPT does? And it makes me wonder why you didn't use the better AI system. Maybe because this version is an easier version to work with, so you can water down the argument. In other words, you can straw man the position and say and pretend that there's an absolute beginning, when in fact that is not known by scientists. It is not a settled science. It is not something that we know for sure. And it is not something that there is a overwhelming consensus on in science either. And if you want to say that it is, then demonstrate that it is. Show all the lists of scientists' names, all the peer-reviewed papers that they have that all show that, yes, this is the thing. You didn't do that. You're not going to do that. I know you're not going to do that, because your video is very simplistic in nature. Your video isn't meant to prove your points. Your video is to try to make yourself feel better about what you believe, perhaps. Perhaps it is intended to get engagement like me engaging in it right now. But I wonder, will you actually respond to my video at all? Probably not. Why? Because Now, if you're going to say that we run away from that absolute beginning without any actual support to a statement like that, I say, all right, and even if you're right, so what? Why are we running away from it? Do pray tell. Tell me why I'm running away from this idea. Is it because you think that that means God exists or something? I don't know how you get a God from an absolute beginning, but let's go down that rabbit hole with you. Why not? Let me get the, let's see. Let's get ChatGPT out of here so I can make sure that I'm on the right spot here. Uh-oh, I almost closed that. Make sure to get that link for later. Okay, so what else do you have after the AI overview? So we're going to skip the AI overview because I don't care about it. I've already addressed it. Then he says, to impartial scientists, the absolute beginning has theistic implications in and of itself. Support that statement. Show that that's true. Show that scientists think that it have a theistic implication at all. Where do you get this idea from? You're just saying it? You're just making up that that's true? Because I don't see, again, zero citations at all in your description. Nothing on screen that shows me that this is true. Why should I think that you're correct about this statement? How do you propose to know what scientists think in regards to theology, in regards to an absolute beginning? Where do you get this idea from? Please tell me.
Everyone believes. Let's most atheists run from an absolute beginning of the universe. Number one, to impartial scientists, an absolute beginning has theistic implications in and of itself. And when you think of scientists, what's one of the first names that come up? Albert Einstein. He is the fellow that came up, the genius that came up with the theory of relativity. E equals mc squared.
E equals mc squared is the theory of relativity. I'm just going to let that I'm just going to have to think about that for a bit. Because I'm pretty sure E equals mc squared is not the theory of relativity. So I'm sure that's not what you meant, right?
And he realized that E equals mc squared, his theory proves that matter is derivative, not fundamental. But guess what? He had...
Are you sure you understand the equation that you're showing there? Because you do understand that it's matter times the speed of light squared. And so if you do that, that's how much energy you get. So I'm sure that you understand that, though, right? You're not just saying stuff that you think is true, right? Press F to doubt.
Had a philosophical predisposition against theism, a person.
This is irrelevant. What he had in reference to theism doesn't matter in regards to science.
Personal God. He was a agnostic. Some say pantheist. Others just say he believed in the God of I forgot the guy's name.
Of course you did. Why didn't you look it up? You have a recorded video. I'm doing this video live. Let's see. The God of Spinoza offhand. Let's see. Einstein. Let's see. God of Spinoza. Einstein. Yeah. There you go. Spinoza's God. I got it right. Why didn't you look that up?
But the God who is impersonal. So he had a predisposition against Christian theism in particular.
Even if true, so what? Why are you poisoning the well here? What purpose does this serve?
Particular, and I'll show you why. But let me first give you a little more backdrop of what happened here. So he comes up with this theory. He sees that it's pointing to a beginning. So he came up with certain equations. He tried to fudge, the fudge factor, they call it, some call it, to fudge.
Okay, you're not getting that right even a little.
these things to restore or to keep an eternal, past eternal universe.
I love that apologists just simply have to lie about things to make their points. It's always interesting to me that they do this. You pretend to read Einstein's mind and know his reasons for doing these things. I don't think that you've read anything that Einstein wrote or understand any of Einstein's stuff. And hey, I'll tell you right now, I don't. I understand very little about it. But I do understand enough to know when you're bullshitting the rest of us. And that's all you're doing here. The reasons that Einstein fought against whatever implications he had, unless he says what his reasons are, I don't know his reasons. And technically speaking, even if he tells us what his reasons are, he could be lying about them. So we don't really ever know what his reasons are, just what he told us, right? But you're saying that you know somehow, magically, that it had to be that he didn't want it to be a certain thing, that he didn't want it to be a beginning of the universe. And many apologists use this lie. It is a very common lie. I don't know where they get the idea from, because nothing that Einstein says that I know of actually suggests that this is the reason that he did this. So I don't know how they know what Einstein feels back in the past when Einstein didn't say, hey, I'm doing this because I don't want it to be God or something, like, but whatever lies you got to do to keep up the imaginary beliefs that you have, I guess,
Right? And a guy named Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian, I think, scientist who happened to be a priest, solved the field equations to Einstein's theory. And he who went to Einstein, he was a friend, they were friends. He said, look, your theory shows that the universe had a beginning. But Einstein would have none of it. And he kept on going, trying to prove that the universe is past eternal. He put in the fudge factor, as some call it, which he later called the worst mistake of his whole career.
All right, keep on cherry picking, just continual cherry picking. It really doesn't ultimately matter that you're getting everything that Einstein said wrong, because you still haven't made an argumentation for why we should think you're right. You have not shown us any reason why atheists run away from an absolute beginning, let alone 3 reasons why atheists run away from an absolute beginning. All you're doing is saying that Einstein supposedly did it, but not demonstrating that Einstein did this thing. Why didn't, perhaps he didn't think that his theory was sound. Perhaps he thought he was wrong, and perhaps he challenged his own assumptions like a good scientist should. Perhaps he was more comfortable with the original notions of the universe, and this new notion was something that he was uncomfortable with. Perhaps any number of things. What else you got besides just misquoting Einstein? Because is this reason 1? Okay, now you're going to talk about Stephen Meyer, who I don't care about, and I'm going to dismiss because he's another stupid apologist that lies out his ass. All right, whatever. Next, what else you got? Let's see. Okay, you're going to quote the Bible that you haven't established to be true, so I don't care about that. That's circular reasoning. What else you got? Is this, okay, more about the Stephen Meyer book that I don't care about? Okay, so number 2, intuitively lay people know that you can't get, well, whatever lay people do or do not know intuitively has no bearing on what reality actually is or how anything works, by the way. This is actually a logical fallacy known as the appeal to common man. Also, where is your proof that this is true? So if I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and say, hey, I want to prove that number 2 is true. Great. Now show me a data sheet that shows how many people that you've polled that all agree with this idea. No, you don't have that? Then you can't make this statement because you have no way to demonstrate that it's true. Not that even if you did, it would matter, but I'm just saying you didn't prove it's true, so I don't believe you already. What did you say, though? Here, lay people know you can't get something from nothing. Okay, nobody believes that something came from nothing except for theists. That is a theist position, not an atheist position. Atheists do not have a position, by the way, but in regards to the universe, I have no idea. Where, when, how, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a cosmologist. It's interesting, but I don't have a position on it. And it's certainly not that it came from nothing. And I made a video. Several atheists, including myself, said, no, I do not believe the universe came from nothing. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I don't believe that it did. So stop doing this, theist. You're just making yourselves look stupid. Then again, maybe I should encourage you to keep doing that because that helps me with my job, which is showing the illogic that theists often produce. So they put their hope in eternal and personal something. Well, no, not everybody does that. Some people do, some people don't. Different beliefs about different things are all over the world. But beliefs do not affect reality. What people do or don't believe doesn't matter. By the way, only 33% of the world is Christians. So that's not the majority of the world. The majority of the world is other religious beliefs. So if we're going to go with the majority of the world, then who wins? That doesn't equal reality, right? Because, okay, yeah, you have more Christians than anyone else, but Muslims are catching up, and they're probably going to surpass you guys in a few years. So then they're going to be right because they have more people that say that they believe in something. No, that's not how reality works. So this is an appeal to popularity, a logical fallacy, and is not a reason why anyone would run away from anything. What else you got? What's number 3? I'm just going to skip past it. Amazing creation ex nihilo leaves the atheist with a lot of explaining to do. Well, nobody admits that because that's not something that we believe in, and that's not something that we even know is possible or real or true. So there's nothing to admit to. And that wouldn't be a reason to run away from an absolute beginning. That would be and so I don't even understand your list at all. So what else do you got? You just boxers. What else you got here? Let's see. The bare assertion that non-existence ultimately followed the existence of everything. I don't know what you're talking about. Starting with a fantastic, finely tuned universe. No, the universe didn't start that way. It's so extraordinary and smacks of impersonal and supernaturalism, i.e., far beyond the ability to observe natural processes, at least by God, is not explanatory bankrupt. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, I guess. But here's the problem. Okay, first of all, the so-called fine-tuning isn't what you think it is. Many apologists get this wrong. But to get to the part where we have life took billions of years for the universe. And by the way, you don't even have the Earth for many billions of years. So there wasn't. So if Earth is the only planet that has life on it at all, then it took the universe billions of years to make up its mind about making the Earth. And then once the Earth formed, it still took another billion years for life to actually get going on Earth. So if you want to say God did all that, great. I don't know what God took so long with. I mean, why did it wait a billion, several billion years before creating the Earth? Why did it wait until the Earth cooled down to get life started on Earth? And why did God use a chemical process that could be mistaken as natural processes? I don't know. God is wacky and weird, I guess, but whatever. If you want to believe God did all that, fine. I can't stop you. But you're going to misrepresent the actual science because straw man is your only argument. And when straw man is your plan, well, guess what? then you got to deal with the converted man. That's pretty cool. That was a good little. That should be a song. Straw man, is that your plan? Looks like you need logic then. Oh wait, it is a song. I have. It's called Logic Gave Me. Anyways, what else you got here? Anything of any substance here? Let's see. Non-existence ultimately father the existence of everything. That's not a position that I hold. I don't know how things got to be. I have no idea. I make no claims about that. So that is not true of me at any rate. I don't know if you have any citation of anyone that actually says that. I doubt it. It's the universe didn't start out fantastically fine-tuned. In fact, during the early stages of the universe, before we even get towards the 14 point and whatever, already past the initial inflation, okay, where we have suns form, okay, those suns have to explode to make the heavier elements before even life can even hope to be. And the only life I know of is life here on Earth. So I can only really talk about that version of life. Maybe there's other versions of life that are out there that could have formed with the early stars formation, which only released basic chemicals when they exploded. Basic elements, I should say, not chemicals. When the initial stars exploded, they released elements into the universe. But then those elements combined made bigger stars that then exploded and then had more elements because of that. So then when you have all those elements, then you can have a chance for something to form where all those elements will be on one planet, and then the right conditions will be produced to get life at that point. But that's not all at once, is it? It's stage 1, stage 2, then stage 3, if not 4 or 5, by the way. Because you have to have a planet that also has water on it, which means that the water has to come from ice meteors, or that the planet itself was cold enough to have oxygen and hydrogen produce water on it. Regardless of where it comes from, you have to have water on that planet, because water's basically needed to get life going. You need some liquid medium to start things stirring. So the universe did not just come in with the fine tuning that you want to assert here, and nobody should believe that. And if they do, then they're just wrong. They haven't looked at cosmic inflation, and they haven't understood the science there that actually is there. Okay, so what else are you saying that's completely not true? It smacks of an impersonal and incoherent supernaturalism. Well, no, I don't believe in any supernaturalism because it's ill-defined and it's non-scientific. There is naturalism. That is the nature of the universe, the nature of the real world, the mundane, the ordinary, the materialistic stuff that everything is made out of. Everything is essentially energy at its core to some degree. Now, is there more to it than that? Don't know. I'm not a scientist. Couldn't tell you. Is there more to everything than just the energy that makes everything make stuff? I don't know. Maybe. If you want to call that stuff the supernatural stuff, you can. I can't stop you. You can believe that, but you need to demonstrate it. And all you're doing by saying, well, your explanation doesn't sound good, but you're not even going on the explanation that is mine or any other atheist, for all I know. You seem to be straw-manning the position of a hypothetical atheist that you're going after, but that's not what your video was intended to do. Your video was intended to demonstrate that there are 3 reasons why atheists run away from an absolute beginning. But at no point have you demonstrated that there is an absolute beginning, nor have you demonstrated any reason that I or any other atheist would run from it. I have nothing to fear. If you can demonstrate an absolute beginning, great, please do so. And when and if you produce that peer-reviewed publication that other scientists get to look at and examine and it becomes accepted, then fine, I'll agree with it. I have nothing to worry about. I don't see why that would indicate God, though. A beginning or a non-beginning to anything doesn't indicate God to me. The only thing that would indicate God is God. So that's it. You just need God. You don't need to show that there is or isn't a beginning of the universe. It doesn't matter to me. You just need to show me God. That's it. Because the only evidence of God that there needs to be is God. That's it. You don't, the argument that you're trying to go after is there's a beginning of the universe, therefore God. But that argument doesn't work. And it doesn't work because just because you have a beginning of something, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't tell you anything. What else do you got besides this? Anything at all of interest? Let's see. Then you just talk about God, blah, blah, blah. So nothing I care about. Let's see. Anything else to actually talk about in your video? No, I guess not. I mean, basically, straw man followed by you misquoting Einstein and basically lying about what Einstein said. I don't think that you'll respond to this video. Hey, let's see if YouTube will accept my comment. Hey, I made a video about your video. Check it out. Let's see if that comment will stay or if YouTube will eat it. Probably YouTube will eat it. Oh, wait. Hey, Dave, 37 minutes ago, you just was lit. Here's my challenge proof. And then he links me to another video. The theist debate challenge. Getting you bothered, but that's not proof. Your proof is not another video. So you have 0 citations in this one as well. Just an incoherent mess of word salad. So that video was not proof of anything. Well done. Try harder. Okay, I guess that's all we've got for this video. Chat's been saying stuff that I've been ignoring, so let me look over there for a moment and see if there's anything I need to respond to. And so if you're done now and you're like, hey, Deacon Verman, that was great, I'm done. Cool, you can click stop. You can just leave a comment, post, thumb up, whatever you do. But for the rest of you that want me to respond to chat, this is the time I respond to chat. So our Tanglo says, a beginning seems to be the best explanation. Whatever the best explanation is, I don't even know how you would determine what the best explanation is. So you'd have to have some system to determine a bad explanation, a mediumly good explanation, and then the best explanation. I don't know what that system is or how that would work, but I'm sure that you have a methodology that's been well thought out, right? Mr. Victor says, is hyperstatic union logical? I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about there. Ex nihilo put on atheist now. Okay, then. Right, exactly. It's not an atheist position. It's a theist position to hold. Well, some theists, not all. I'd say Christians at least, maybe Jews. That God, if God's all that is, and there isn't anything but God, and then God says, make the universe, what is God making the universe from? Is it making it from itself? Or is it making it from nothing? I don't know. You guys answer. You let me know. Skeptically pissed. Ex nihilo guilt. Okay, whatever. Chris, the 1996 beginnings argument is logical. No idea what you're talking about there. Skeptically pissed, talking to Antangelo. And yeah, matter and energy can't be destroyed. Therefore, the universe is eternal. Well, okay, so that gets a little bit complicated with what we mean by universe. So for that, I'm going to have to turn to the best scientist I know, which is MS Paint. That's a joke, by the way. Okay, so here we have the singularity, okay? And if this is the universe as we understand it, right, then, and this is just energy, basically, is all that is at this point, because that's all it would be. Then, yeah, it can't be created or destroyed, at least from what we understand of physics. But do physics as we know it work in this tiny universe? I mean, it's really hot. Like, you're talking like the degrees of hotness are like really, really, really insane, so who knows what it's like in that dense state. And this is the problem for the Kalam argument as well, is that you get into this thing called Planck. I don't know how to spell that. Let me see. Planck temperature. I always spell it wrong. Planck temperature. That's how to spell it. Okay. The Planck temperature. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And at that point of heat, and this is even before you get down to it being really small, like, that the singularity would have been. This is like at T2, maybe it's even at T3. I'm not sure offhand. But at any rate, when you're at the Planck temperature, physics as we know it breaks down. So maybe cause and effect doesn't exist in there. Maybe energy can stop existing or start existing. I don't know. Because the temperature is just too damn hot. So for all we know, we don't know diddly squat. And that might be the way it stays. I have no idea. Yeah, all scientific theories are amenable to new info. Right, exactly. So who knows? And when scientists sit down and they're cosmologists, what they do is complicated math that's far beyond my ability. I can barely add at this point, in life. I'm like, I don't remember how to divide anymore. It's like, I saw something that was like, hey, numerator and denominator, is that right? No, it's numerator and what is it again? I couldn't even remember the terms for like anything anymore. It's like, my brain is mush, So it's far beyond it, but they make mathematical models to make sense of the early universe. And then they put all that in papers, and then they send that out, and other people read those papers, and they go, oh, is that true? And then they check, and they go, oh, yeah, it is. And they go, yeah, you cool. And if not, they go, oh, and then it goes back and forth and all that. And the fact is that scientists haven't figured it out yet isn't really surprising, given that, it's way back in time, like that's going to be hard to do, but the thing that apologists, I think, don't seem to get is that I'm like, as an atheist, that I have a position regarding cosmology. I don't know. I'll go with whatever science says. That's the best I could do. And really, that's the best I think anyone could do. And I hope they get it right, but I don't know. I don't believe that scientists are anti-God in the sense that you seem to be suggesting in your video there. That the reason that science are like, maybe they're staying away from a absolute beginning is because they're afraid of God. No, that's silly. Plenty of scientists are Christian and other faiths as well. And regardless of your position as a scientist, the data is king. So even if you don't want it to be true, if the data says it's true, then it's true. If we found God via science, I would believe in God. It's that simple. I don't have anything to run from. I have nothing to fear. I'm not worried about it. If and when we discover a God, that would be really neat and interesting, and I'd be all over it. I'd be talking about it. I'd be looking at it. I'd be examining it. And I wouldn't call myself Deconverted Man. I don't know what I'd call myself, but it wouldn't be. Maybe it would just be Dan Green. I don't know. Even though that's not my real name, but that's what I could call myself. because I called that myself that in my 3 books that I have available on Amazon: Copy to an Infinite Hope and a Finite Despair, The Lightbringer, and my latest book, Logic and Morals. Go get them on Amazon now. Link will be in the description at some point. Any rate, so this video that this guy didn't give us any actual valid arguments because he didn't lay out a syllogism. So there goes that. He didn't even give us an argument to look at. He didn't give us any empirical evidence to look at, any citations whatsoever, no repeated tests that we could do. So there's literally no reason to believe anything he said at all. So that doesn't mean he's wrong, but it does mean that we have to be skeptical of his conclusions. And on that note, thanks for listening. Thank you for engaging. Leave your comments in the comments thingy. Whatever your comment is, I don't know. Maybe you want to tell me I'm wrong. Cool. Maybe you want to tell me, I don't know, something. I don't know, anything. Put it down there so I can interact with you more. And hey, I'm always open to talk to people and interview them about their beliefs and ideas. If you want to set that up, you can email me, deconvertedman1@gmail.com. It's 1, not O-N-E. It's the number 1. Actually, it's deconvertedman1@gmail.com, right? I'm going to put that on the screen. Here we go. There it is. See that's what that is. That's the email. It's on my page thingy that was about, and now YouTube's changed how that works. So now you go, this is the part where I'm running out of steam. Don't worry. It's getting there. You go to the thing and you click on the thing and you click view channel. You're like, okay, there it is. You have to click. I'll show you. It's really stupid now how they do it. It's doesn't make any damn sense. You go to my page, right? And you're like, okay, here's @deconvertedman, right? And then you go, oh, here's this, and you click more. It used to say about, there was an about button here. Now it just says more, and then it says about, right? Why doesn't it say about here, but it's whatever. Anyway, so then there's links. This one is my blog. And then it's the Lobsterist, and then and then my 2 books, I need to add my 3rd book there. So, anyways, so that's all that. And what's Cranky say? Oh, I got something here to read. A lot of top biochemists have become Christian due to their findings. They have concluded there can't be chemical evolution without some sort of initial creation. That's nice. Where did you get that from? How do you know? What's a lot? What's the number? Citation required. Where do you get this idea from? I don't know. So top biochemists became Christian. And they became Christian specifically. Not just any theist, but specifically Christian. Let's see. List of Christians in science and technology. I'm not seeing anything on Google to support your claim here. So I don't know where you're getting this idea from. So I don't know that it's true. So I'm going to have to doubt that it's true. So if you want to say something is true, you're going to have to support that it's true by giving a citation. If you don't know what a citation is, maybe you should look it up. And don't just rely on AI to tell you. Do better than that. Thanks for listening. Anyways, yes, probably. Until next time, stay skeptical. And after next time, we'll remain skeptical. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to start believing stuff. That wouldn't make any sense.